You ready? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I call the regular meeting of the Milliken Board of Trustees for June 14th, 2023 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will the town clerk please call roll?
Trustee Beckman? Here. Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
Here.
Trustee Meisner?
Here.
Trustee Wakeman?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Here.
Mayor Austin?
Here. Thank you. Does anyone have any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none. Town clerk, please take a motion.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
I second.
Okay, now I'll have the town clerk please call for a vote.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Trustee Meisner?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Citizens' comment. Citizens' comment is the point in the meeting where the public is invited to address the town board on any items except agenda items for which there is a public hearing. Public comment on public hearing items will occur during the scheduled public hearing. All comments should be directed to the town board. There's a 3-minute limit per speaker. Please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Do we have any public comment this evening? Okay, I see one person in particular. Gentlemen, if you'd like to approach the podium. Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate the opportunity to address the board. I'm not sure if this is coming up. I didn't see anything as it being a public forum coming up on this, but it's dealing with the recent flooding of the city. Are you addressing that?
No, just one more. Can we please get your name and
Oh, I'm
address
sorry.
for
My
the
name is
record?
Rick. I'm sorry. My name is Rick Rarick. I live at 1531 South Haymaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please continue. You're fine.
I wasn't sure if this is a future agenda item. No sense talking about it if you're going to hold.
The town administrator will have comments on.
We don't have it on tonight's
But
agenda, so.
Okay.
It's not a formal item.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate that. The reason I wanted to address the board was my background is as a citizen of the beautiful town of Milliken. I recently moved here, purchased a home, moved here, and the monsoon season began. And due to the flooding that happened adjacent to my property, there's public land there. And the stormwater system, the drainage system that runs there, I guess, as I was told, the water belongs to the city and the drainage belongs to the Farm Bureau, or the Farmers Bureau owns it, as I was told when I called in and asked about it. But anyway, a couple of weeks ago when we had the severe rain, it backed up with the corn stalks and so forth, overflowed, broke the levee in 2 places that flooded the fields, but it brought it all down into my backyard and flooded my house and my basement. I did my due diligence and I called the city and asked the city, what are they doing about it? I went up and I reviewed it. My background is in emergency management, 30 years. I work in Denver metro area as an emergency management person for that area. And I saw what the problem was. I called in and I said, you need to come up here and relieve this. It'll solve all your problems. I was told, well, we'll get there when we get there. Everyone was in the wrong place, servicing the wrong things at that time, from my professional opinion. We waited and waited, and I was dealing with the flooding of my house. I called into the city office and was told there's nothing we can do about it. I said, well, I would like some sandbags, and I believe I talked to whoever it was that answered, maybe the clerk might have been, and she transferred me to Miss Powell, I believe it was. We had a conversation. I asked for sandbags for future flooding that was due to happen. I was told the city will not provide me with sandbags. That's a city's responsibility to take care of its citizens and help protect the citizens in general area. I understand. I know that. I understand that. I deal with it on a daily basis down in the Denver metro area. I understand the city has a limited budget. It's not a Denver city. It's not Golden. It's not Arvada or anywhere like that. But still, it has an obligation to provide for its citizens. I said, okay, if I go buy the sandbags, can you tell me where I can fill them? We don't do that. Well, then it rained again and flooded my backyard. In the meantime, insurance won't cover it. They told me they'll cancel me if I file a claim. So I have structural damage to my house that is going to cost me tens of thousands of dollars. Just moved into my house because of this. When I moved in, I asked for about flood insurance. They said, it's never flooded here. I talked to my neighbors. They said, oh, it flooded here in 2013. Flooded here in like 2009, 10. I wish I had known that. I wish somebody had bothered to tell me that. I would have been covered. But my question is, why don't we have an emergency manager for this city that would have been out there doing mitigation and planning prior, that would have known it? I knew that that was a problem beforehand. I addressed it with my wife, that when looking at the drain and where it was going to break. I knew it. I knew it before it happened. I told them the other day when it rained 2 days, Sunday, I think it was, Sunday. I was up there. I called in and said, you're this far from breaching the storm drain again. Well, yeah, we'll get there. Nobody ever came. And it flooded my backyard again. Thank goodness it didn't flood my house for a third time. So I want to know what the city's going to do about it. I believe I was told that the city is in discussions with Johnstown and the fire department to get, well, that's not somebody that's an expert in emergency management. That's a firefighter.
We're working, yeah.
If they're hiring internally. That's a way wrong decision, let me tell you, because I see it all the time down in Denver, hiring from someone who's not in that profession. I just don't want you to make a mistake by doing that. It's going to cost you.
Okay, so, well, okay, so I think the town administrator can address part of your concerns.
I'm about out of time too, so.
It's okay.
So no, you don't need to go anywhere. Just let's have Ms. Powell
Right.
step in with a couple of comments.
So we did speak about that currently.
And she was very nice, very pleasant conversation, by the way.
Johnstown and Milliken do share a fire district.
Yeah, I understand.
And so we're coming up with an emergency operations plan, and we're working with Weld County with Denise Bradshaw, who's
I know who that is.
with the Office of Emergency Management there.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get this plan done. Hopefully we get this person hired. I don't know. Originally they talked about it could be somebody from the inside. I don't know what their background is. I don't know who it is, and if it's even going to be that person.
Okay. And my advice, if I may, to the board is do your due diligence. Find out this person, their background, and their experience in it. Doing an emergency plan, I've done thousands of them. They are not done overnight. They take years to get emergency plans done right. So in the meantime, I just left a meeting today in Golden with Jefferson County and Denver Metro and Department of Homeland Security. We're in the middle of a monsoon season. We're not done with this, and we're already at peak overflow along those drainage ditches. When I called in the other day, I told them, you need to open some of those side ditches, siphon some of this water off. Nobody came and did it. I would have done it, so I probably would have got arrested for tampering with city property. But I was at that point. It was this close to overflowing again, and I didn't want to see that happen. I think my wife said she read online from a bunch of citizens that,
Johnstown was getting sandbags, but we were not.
yeah, that people were complaining they were getting sandbags, but we are not.
Couple things. So first of all, let's kind of roll back to your comment about the 2013 flood. That was immensely different. That originated from water that was released upstream, and we were never notified. So then we had immense flooding. So that was very different than this event. This event, thank goodness, normally the farmers call for water down the Hillsborough ditch to water their fields, and luckily they had not put in that call for water. So all the water that went into the Hillsborough ditch was rainwater coming off of the farmers' fields and coming down from further upstream.
Correct.
So the city can't go out and just turn those flumes, is that the right word? Thank you. Got my language correct? Can't open them because we don't own the ditches. The Hillsborough is owned by the Hillsborough Ditch.
That's what I
Company.
said. I come to understand that.
Just wanted to make that clear. And so we were just calculating at our, I wish you had kind of been here for our work session. It was quite interesting. We calculated that this was more than a 500-year event in the amount of water that we got in a 45-minute from rain gauges. So this wasn't even a 100-year event. It was beyond that. It was something that we had never seen before.
Okay.
So there is more to come, though. We have been just discussing our stormwater plan. We are looking at cleanup all around town because we had various areas that were impacted.
Yeah.
So you're not alone.
And I understand that. And
No,
I'm not singling myself out,
Yeah.
but I'm just watching out for all the citizens.
Absolutely.
And making sure that that the city is not getting caught like many of the cities have been, where they're just in the gambit of emergency services, where they're just in the recovery and response section, are always on the tail end in recovery and response, but they're doing their mitigation and their planning ahead of time. It should have been done, and we saw it, that it should have been done by pulling all those corn stalks and things out, which caused that problem. They clogged those drainage pipes, and they pulled enough out of just the one right outside my house that was the size of a small Volkswagen bus. And that was ridiculous. That should have never been allowed to get to that point. And like I said, I'm not pointing fingers. I told you I'm not laying blame. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to teach people that they need to prepare and be ready. And I know you have a small staff. I was here at a meeting before where you're limited on money and budget and staff. I understand that. And it just, so this doesn't happen again.
You are correct with the corn stalks and the cattails. I've recently learned more about you don't burn cattails, or they multiply
Right?
drastically, like
Yep.
those little fur things,
Yeah.
on the horror movie.
That's right.
Anyway, so yes, a lot of that has to be dredged out.
Well, and we can't even dredge it.
Yeah.
All we can do is mow it,
Yeah.
And
which is what I learned a little bit more about that today.
So you have good points. Certainly we know. We didn't realize we were going to get that much rain.
And
It was shocking.
we're going to get more as the snow cap melts due to this rain and so forth. I mean, like I said, I just came from this meeting with Homeland Security and the Weather Bureau and, for the entire eastern side of Colorado. It's going to happen again. And we just need to make sure that we're out ahead of it now.
Yeah.
We can't wait to hire someone down the road. We need to do it now and be prepared so it doesn't happen. But like I said, my concern is that whenever that time comes, you hire the right person for that job and not just somebody who kind of understands it, kind of thing, because that'll happen again, and it'll be catastrophic when it does.
Yeah,
So-
I got to enjoy water in my basement, found it in the dark.
Yep.
And just so you know, because so in 2013, when we had that flood, it mainly affected the north side of town because that was from the Little and Big Thompson River. And all the debris that had built up in that, it took out, I think I told you, it took out bridges. Milliken essentially was an island. So due to that,
I've gone back and watched the news footage and so on and so forth.
So we did get some assistance from FEMA and enlarged what we call the Josephine Stormwater drainage system. Now we're working on the second phase of that because they're expensive. The other area that got affected was Cherry Street, which has no drainage in it. It's an older section of town.
I notice that. I
And-
drive
and
around, I
so
look at those
we
things, what we
received-
have and don't have.
We received grant funding for that, plus, the pennies we have saved to put towards that project through our stormwater fund. So that should be beginning here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll be handling that. But again, if we could get an event at any time, as you said. And with the snow melt and with the rains that we're getting, it all just adds together. It scares us as well because we wish we could take care of all this stuff at once, being ahead of it instead of behind it. So we're trying.
I understand that, and that's
Yeah,
why I'm cautioning, if I can use that term,
Yeah.
you know, board, that you need to get someone and have that person advising you, talking to you ahead of time, not waiting for an interview that may or may not happen. You'll be out of the season, and, you know, you will have hit the iceberg already by that time.
Yeah.
So,
We will take your comments.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, Cherry Street is $1.8 million. And we allocated it. We're looking at our capital projects budget. We were just talking about that tonight. The next phase to help combat this is coming in at 3.1 million. We don't bring in that much money.
I know. I deal with that on a daily basis down
Yeah.
there, and the numbers just keep going up and up and up down there.
But I will speak to Chief West. I have monthly coffee with him, and that's coming up at the end of this month to see if they've yet determined how they're going to go about the hiring process for that position, because I agree with you.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, our plan isn't done yet, and you're right, it takes years, and we have been working on it for quite a few years.
All right.
So, but I appreciate your assistance.
No, I appreciate your time and allowing me the opportunity to speak.
You can tell we're really strict with that 3 minute.
Yeah, I tell you. I've talked to a board once before in my life, and they were like 2 minutes, 50 seconds. They were ready to jerk me off.
No.
But I
No, we're a small
appreciate it.
town.
Like I said, from my professional experience and my personal experience, I wanted to, because I'm not the only one.
Right.
I think I'm the only one in our neighborhood who had water damage because what is it, the,
Are you right off of Inez?
Yeah.
yeah, what's that land
Yeah,
next to us?
south,
The
Haymaker.
open space right next to us? Is that what it's called? The open space next to us?
Is that South Park?
I think it's South.
Anyway, it's right next to a drainage ditch, and it's the lowest part of the entire neighborhood, and any water flows right down, and it settles right in my backyard, and it just becomes a swimming pool. And I was out there the other night for 2 hours with my shovel, just trying to keep it from getting into the house, and I shouldn't have to do that all the time.
Yeah.
So, and I know you guys don't own the ditch, and unfortunately, I've learned that nasty, political thing of who owns what, and the water and the land. and
Who goes first,
all of
yeah.
that. And I talked to the owner, I guess the gentleman that owns that
ditch?
field in the ditch.
Well, probably one of the board members,
Yeah, it's-
right, on the ditch company.
Yeah,
ditch board,
I just walked up in the middle of the rain and started talking to him about it, and he said, wow, yeah, they use and own the water, but I own the land. And I said, what are you gonna do about it? Well, my house flooded too, way up the road. Well, that's great, but I'm talking about my house. Our house is in the city, and the city's responsible to help us. And I haven't seen any help. I asked for help, I offered to help, and I didn't get anything.
Okay.
So, and anyway, just
All right.
like,
Thank you.
Sir, will you just make sure you signed in at the front?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Any other citizens' comments? Yes, sir. I'll let you know when you get to 2 minutes, 50 seconds. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and trustees. My name is Britton Cottrell, and I live at 4327 West 31st Street up in Greeley. And I work with TNT Fireworks as a regional manager. TNT Fireworks is the largest distributor of consumer-grade fireworks in the nation. And we've been around for 103 years, owned by the same family in the same town that we originated in. And we operate local fundraising tents and stands all across the United States for individuals who want to sell consumer-grade fireworks. We recently have made application to the city to have a stand located here in Milliken. You may be familiar with us. We are often located in Walmart parking lots, grocery store parking lots. We sell inside stores. You'll see us around New Year's selling poppets and party favors and things like that. And so we've started the process of application here, and we've hit a couple of roadblocks, and I think we're on the right track now. But I really just wanted to make public comment because I know this might be a new thing for the town of Milliken, seeing a fireworks vendor. Perhaps it's happened years ago. I don't think it's happened in any recent history. And just wanted to clarify with the town and the trustee board that we are indeed only selling consumer-grade fireworks. We're talking things that are allowed by the state of Colorado. By that, I mean we're only allowed to sell things that stay on the ground. We're talking fountains, sparklers, and poppets, little novelty things. We do not and cannot sell anything that leaves the ground, nothing that is for display, for public display, or even private display that shoots up in the air or explodes. This is always a cantankerous topic for many people when you hear fireworks, because we lump fireworks into this general category of those things that are exploding in our neighborhoods at 2 o'clock in the morning, bothering us, waking us up, waking our pets up. We all know the drill. It happened the other night when the Nuggets won. It was in my neighborhood. So I was 10 minutes behind on the game, and it ruined it for me because I figured they won. But I just wanted to clarify that throughout this process that we're here to be partners. I just came before here filming or recording a podcast with the Colorado Department of Fire Prevention and Control, who we work very closely with and have a great relationship with. Governor Polis has even done a PSA for our partnership together, talking about buying local fireworks because those are legal. Those are safe. Those are what is designed to be in Colorado. And we are also embarking on a brand new safety campaign. We've been in partnership with the state for the last few years, and this year we're rolling out a new addition to that called the Bucket Brigade. You'll see a press release coming out in major news outlets next week, and we're excited to share that with you. So simply just wanted to let you know that our goal is to partner with the town, not to ever work against you. We want to partner in safety messaging and letting you know our intent and who we really are, and hopefully answer any questions about misconceptions surrounding fireworks and what's allowed, what's not allowed, and things like that.
That you already answered my question about whether or not you sell something that leaves the ground, because everybody knows fireworks on the ground is fine for me, you know. I just don't want to burn down someone's property, especially after we've already had the floods, you know. You're going to have floods, then we're going to have someone to get their house burned down. That's not going to be a good look, so.
Right. Yeah, that is a problem, and that's why we work very closely with the state, because oftentimes people don't know the difference, right? And taking away the local option of what could be allowed for your residents, and will often push people to go buy the things then that are available somewhere else on the black market or across state lines. And so your local vendors that have been vetted by the state, we're inspected by the state as well, and have to follow strict guidelines as to what we can sell. And I won't get into technical composition about what all that includes, but in general, anything that leaves the ground, anything that makes a bang or explodes, flies through the air, is completely illegal in the state of Colorado. And so we don't carry any of that.
So your application is in process?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes, I think so. I think we're working through that. And but I still thought maybe it'd be good to just give comment of kind of our intent. We don't like to be those people that just ruffle feathers and get a bunch of phone calls. Who are you? What are you doing? You can't be here, kind of a thing. And so maybe clarifying on public record will help with that as well. Okay. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, we'll close out public comment and we'll move to the meeting minutes. Is there any discussion or comments on the meeting minutes of May 24th, 2023? Take a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Trustee Meisner?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Town administrators report. Administrator Powell.
Thank you, Mayor and trustees. As we discussed during the work session, I mean, that's been the top thing on my list as well, is the floods and what's occurred because of the floods. Speaking to many of the citizens, speaking to town staff, trying to find ways to mitigate some of these issues, and which has, of course, brought us back to the stormwater master plan, which we've looked at, updated somewhat with costs and shared with you. Be happy to share it with any of the citizens that would like to see it as well. We're trying to look at areas of town that are heavily impacted or what leads to those impacts. You know, there's ways to mitigate it further up on the south side of town, coming down. So we have our engineers looking at those, just so you're all aware that we take this very seriously too. Our guys were out working, a few of them over about 24 hours before they stopped. The rest of them were out there for many hours as well. So fielding phone calls, calling people to help assist, put things on our Facebook page, website. You know, I was bothering Carrie in the middle of the night on Wednesday, or Sunday rather. But I appreciate all the help that everybody has given. I will look forward to having our emergency management plan in place. I will speak to Chief West to see where we're at on that, and keep you updated as to what I find out. So I appreciate everybody's patience with us. I know it's difficult when your home is impacted by this. You know, your home is a place to go home to rest to, not to have to worry about with situations like this. So we'll work towards making it that way. Also, our next work session, before I forget, we are going to be doing a tour of the new Roosevelt High School. I've spoken to Karen Tressler, the superintendent. She's not available that evening, but one of the school board members, Reverend Scott, is available, and he will be providing the tour. So I will get more details. We'll email it out to you as the time comes closer. So that's about what I have for tonight. If anybody has any questions.
I've got one question. The Hillsborough Ditch Company, there's gates, right, that they open up to allow the water to flow?
Correct.
Okay, so when that ditch fills up, is it because gates are closed because they haven't opened them to let the water come down through, right?
No, they probably have the main head gate closed, so that we're not getting water off of the Big Thompson.
Okay.
Because during this time, with these type of events happening, we don't want that. But gates are open along the way to keep the water flowing.
That was my question.
And so what you're seeing is an impact from things above us, because we're in a valley. So above us coming down and going through. And honestly, even though I know those ditches overtopped, and perhaps they could be done a little bit different. The ditch company's not very big either, the people that service that. But if the ditches weren't there, it would have been that much worse. At least it slows it down, it kind of directs it. The problem is when it overtops. And this is the first time in my 20-some years with the town that it's done that. So hopefully we never see it again. But now we know that it can happen. So we'll work on how to avoid that happening in the future.
So the floodgates are open all the way to the Big Thompson? Or the...
I don't know where they have it to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you check on, can
Sure.
you verify that it's open the whole way so it can escape all the way to a river? To whatever river it flows into?
John, can you answer that? Do you know? Or Keith?
I don't know, but I would suspect that it would flow into the Little Thompson or the
Right.
Plot.
Okay. Yeah, it just dawned on me that the gates are closed,
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
but I didn't know how many gates there were and if there was any between where this is happening with us and where it dumps into the nearest river. That was my...
There has to be a release point downstream, but exactly what that location is, I do not know.
So
The gates are for the farmers' ditches.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they don't open unless they call for it. Now, in an emergency situation, if the ditch rider can even access the ditch road to open gates, in the past, they have opened them to relieve water so the ditch doesn't overflow. Otherwise, when the ditch hits the end of the line, then it releases into to the South Platte and Thompson down at Dave Bernhardt's Arbor Land in that area. So
maybe.
the ditch is set to return water to the river. It has to.
Right.
That's
Yeah, oh, okay. All right.
So the gates are the farmers' water. So you can't go open gates and flood a farmer's field out. Ruin
Correct.
crops, because we'd be liable for that.
So it's the main
It's up to
gate.
the ditch rider
Yeah.
and the ditch company to manage the ditch, not the
Right.
town.
Okay. I just wanted some clarification. Thank you for clarifying all that because I wasn't completely certain about it, how it all worked.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Are there gates on the ditch itself?
Yeah.
Not the farmer's ditches, but the ditch itself. Are those open during the?
There's,
That's what I was kind of getting.
not
That's
that
what I
I
was
know,
getting.
there's no, on this Hillsborough ditch, I don't believe there's any emergency gates
It's open now,
that are open.
huh?
There's no emergency
The ditch is
gate.
open is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the ditch is open. It runs,
Right.
Yeah,
the end of the ditch runs in, return to the river.
yeah.
It just doesn't get diverted to the
Nothing that
farmers'
stops.
fields.
Okay, well,
Right.
The gates are they're diverted.
well, maybe we can just verify this because the gentleman who's talking is laughing, and I'd like to know exactly what's going on if those are indeed overflowing because it's totally full or they're Don now. Okay, Don.
The water wastewater director, and I've been helping with irrigation as far as the ditch and how the town receives water. The problem isn't gates on the ditch. The problem is culverts at crossings. And all that runoff that came off the fields brought all those corn stalks and from up above, a lot of the cattails and started plugging culverts as it went down. So there's a crossing right behind their house, and that's where all the corn stalks backed up, because one of my guys was in a backhoe and pulled the small VW bus out.
Yeah, okay.
And got the water flowing. It backed up every culvert on the way down. And the ditch company has one backhoe, we have one backhoe. So we started there, and the ditch company started at the other end, and we started pulling them out. The Sunday night, the one at Alice backed up, overflowed the road, and that's where the erosion brought the power line down. It's not gates on the ditch, it's culverts at crossings. The gates on the ditch, like Leron said, like going to Ehrlich Reservoir or Centennial Lake, that's what ours are. The farm, we can open ours up, ours, except for Ehrlich. We didn't want to overflow Ehrlich, it was already full. Centennial was wide open. Like Leron said, you can't open the farmer's gates and flood the field because it's not our place. We
Yeah,
can't manage the.
What I understood when I talked to Gary is the main gate, is that what they call it?
They've
That
got one
allows,
at the reservoir.
at the reservoir,
And then
was
one at the river.
closed. Yeah, so,
And what you have to understand is that whole trail down, it's like a spider web. There's sub gates or smaller gates that probably belong to the city or the farmers' fields, but those never get open. And if you were to slightly open them, that would alleviate obviously some of the pressure in the water level by diverting that water to other directions, but those were never open. So the water just continues to build and build, like having a gate closed is basically what it's doing when it's clogged. It's like your toilet. You don't have any place else for it to go, but we did. They just didn't open those gates to the side. I think that's why I said on Sunday, when I called Sunday night, and I said, you need to open the little side gates, the little runoff gates.
And that's the farmers' ones for their own
Yeah,
fields.
Whoever, I didn't know who opened.
Yeah.
So-
That's why I said.
A lot of those have locks on them. The ditch rider's got to unlock them to turn the wheel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're padlocked.
we can't do anything about it. We don't own them.
Yeah.
We don't have access to them.
So maybe they should have some kind of an emergency plan to not totally like ruin their fields, but at least lower the level.
Well, a
Just
lot of that water.
That's why they got a ditch rider.
Yeah, and a lot of that water was
The
coming
ditch rider
off
is
their field.
responsible for
was
that.
coming off their field. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the water was coming off their field into the ditch.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for the board, because you either, you know, the community gets flooded and you incur the wrath of that, or you let some of the water in the fields and the farmers get angry and come after you. There's no win there, but it's, which is the lesser of two evils.
Have we cleared out all of the corn stalks in the?
No.
No?
We have been working diligently
Yeah.
to,
Trying to mow? You're having to mow all of that? Pull them out and then mow? You were saying that
no, that's up at Wildcat Acres. So
Okay.
there's a wetland up there that's protected. And what we found out after speaking to the Army Corps
seen
was that, yep,
And we're only allowed to mow those wetlands.
Okay,
We're
So-
not allowed to go in and dredge or disturb any of the soil.
okay.
so that's what I was meaning about
Okay.
mowing up there.
So-
But the rest of them were pulling out. I mean, if you go up to our water tank, that's down County Road 21. So with all the folks that are in Wildcat that have been able to, and it's a site out there, been able to pull a lot of those cattails and such out of their yards and put them in the right of way. So we are out there helping them take those, and we're storing them up at our water tank and drying them out if they ever dry out in this weather. And so we can take them down to our public works facility and slowly burn them to be rid of them. So, yeah.
All right, anybody have any questions for the town administrator's report?
I do, please. Fiber optic, Allo.
Allo has remained silent since the last report I gave you. So I have my own theory because the other towns dropped off, especially Johnstown. I'm not feeling like they're very interested in doing Milliken. So we do have the backup being Comcast, who wants to come in, which will still be an additional service to TDS that we currently have. It's not that we'll stop trying, but I'm at the point with them that I feel like I'm almost begging. And, every conversation I've had with them is, hang in there, we haven't forgotten you, we'll get back to you next week. And I feel a little slighted because I've stuck with this decision that the 4 towns did for almost 2 years. And so it's kind of disturbing to me that, but you never know. Maybe they'll include us with another plan they have. I will keep you apprised when I hear from them, but hopefully I do hear from them.
But Comcast has reached out to us. right?
Correct.
And so is that still,
We're working on a franchise with them. I don't know whose court it's in.
Yeah, we were working on it as of Thursday of the week before last, and I was gone last week, so that's one of the things I want to get wrapped back up. But we have been actively working on that, and I think we need to follow up with Comcast with some revisions we're proposing and keep moving forward.
okay,
That's well along.
Yeah.
good to hear.
Yeah.
So I missed out on the special pricing with Comcast because I didn't know how to tell them we didn't have it yet.
Well, we might get it if they come in here. They still have to do all their installation.
The special pricing ended that day.
Oh. Well, we're going to find out if they can renew it for the town when they get here, so.
Do we know why the other towns dropped off?
With Allo? The attorney we were using that was recommended to us kind of is a little sideways with the, I believe he is the founder of Allo. And it wasn't a good conversation, so.
Okay.
No, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the town administrator? All right. We have nothing on the consent agenda, so we'll move on to the action agenda. And thank you very much for your report, Administrator Powell.
Oh, can I add one thing? I'm sorry, Mayor, with the conversations going on.
Flexible tonight.
Can I have 3 minutes?
Yes. 2 minutes, 50 seconds.
Just for those folks that have been impacted with basement flooding, so ProCode is our building official that we contract with. And anyway, he is offering for any flood repair work that you're doing, a $200 flat fee, where he would normally charge $2 a square foot. So it's a something, it's a help, and it's very nice of them to offer. So if,
We definitely be interested.
yeah, so just reach out to us and we'll provide you with this letter if he doesn't send it out to every, so it's a little bit of help.
I'll post it on the website, and you can reach out to me and I can help you with the process.
So, thank you.
Okay. Alrighty, on our action agenda item, the first item is authorization for the town administrator to enter a contract with North Front Range MPO. This is very exciting, this is for our senior town bus. Kathy Kinsfather, Human Resources.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. I've got Corey here from the North Front Range MPO to answer any questions that you might have that I might not be able to answer. Being a subrecipient, it gets a little messy. So, can you bring that up again? So before you had a packet, and I've got it up on the screens right now. So this grant was an 80-20 grant that I originally brought in 2021. The town had prior approval for 20% of it, which was $14,058. And the remaining 80% would be from CDOT, from the Senate Bill 228 funds. Now, it's been kind of a long process, and through no fault of our own or CDOT's, the original vendor is no longer able to fulfill the order for a couple of reasons. During the pandemic, Ford Motor Company stopped the production of the chassis that were needed to fulfill the original order. At the time, it was not known to us or CDOT when production would be started back up, and we were told just to kind of hang on, it would happen. Well, it did not. So Creative Bus Sales is no longer able to receive the chassis to fulfill the order, and therefore their contract was terminated by CDOT as a vendor. So after learning about the supply shortage, the lack of being able to get the order needed for the chassis, we were basically given two choices: relinquish the grant, or I could move forward with other options. And I worked really hard on that grant. I wasn't ready to just say, take it back. So we waited quite a bit longer. Can you go to the next page? And get a couple of other options for vans. It's a little bit different. If you look on the back page, you'll see that the photo is a little bit different than the original. We had to move to what's called step and slide to enter with wheelchairs, because the original bus chassis, the additional funding they wanted was in the like $70,000 to $80,000 range. And I knew that that was just going to be way over the top. That's how much pricing had increased. So again, we had to wait for some other things to come through, and I was given two pricing options for a van. And if you look, so there's option one and option two. And basically, you can see the option there, the total cost, CDOT's cost, what Milliken's cost would be for option one and option two. And then on the next page, you can see what the prior commitment was, which was $70,290 for the total project. Town of Milliken's portion again was at $14,058. So if you look at the difference from the prior contract, you'll see option one is $41.45 without all-wheel drive and the EcoBoost, and option two is $5,863.40 with all-wheel drive and EcoBoost. Now, the seniors last year did a fundraiser at Christmas time, and we raised $1,500. I did present this to our senior advisory board because we've been waiting so long for transportation, as our current van that we're using is not ADA accessible, and in my opinion, it is just very unsafe for our seniors. So I have no longer been using it because it's a safety issue. So that's how this whole thing started way back in 2020 when I decided to even go out for a grant, was basically for the safety and to be able to allow our seniors safe transportation. So the seniors, the senior advisory board did agree to do the $1,500, which brings option 1 would be the additional onto the $1,458 that you guys already have set aside for it. So option 1 would be an additional $2,645 after we put in the 15. Or option 2 would be $4,363.40 after we put in the 15. Now, Corey and I have done a lot of talking back and forth with CDOT in meetings and things like that. They're just probably not going to build the cheaper option without the all-wheel drive and the EcoBoost engine. Ford is looking to make the highest profit margin they can. Every order that they've put in to get the non-four-wheel drive versions are not being fulfilled. So, in my opinion, Corey's opinion, the only way to really get ahead of 2024 pricing, which is probably going to be significant, would be to go ahead and recommend option 2. But like I said, after the $1,500 that the seniors would be putting in, it would be an additional $4,363.40 that the town would have to put with the $14,058 to fulfill the 20% local funds match. Then if we get an approval for that, then we would be able to work with Corey and the North Front Range MPO and CDOT to enter into a contract. And then it kind of gets messy with all the subcontract stuff because it's actually one contract then that would be going to another, but that would be what the town would be responsible for.
Okay.
Question, do we have that money available, Wade?
That's
4363?
Yeah, what we would request would be able to take that from fund balance. So we haven't spent this money in 21, we didn't spend it in 22, so we're going to carry it forward. The 14,000. So what we would request is to take that additional $4,300 out of fund balance. Okay. I believe that we can probably find some savings to cover that. We have some revenue that may come in higher than expected. So I'm fully confident that we can cover the $4,300 additional $100. Yeah.
If you're not using the other van, can we sell it?
I don't know that we'd want to.
We do use the van.
So we use it, not seniors. It's not.
Yeah, it's kind of been maybe demoted a little bit. The senior, it's not very usable for the seniors, but we use it for a lot of our seasonal work as well as our
all right.
Our
Just thought I'd ask.
youth committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's used, it doesn't just sit.
Yeah. So questions from the board, starting with Trustee Dean.
No questions.
Trustee Beckman.
No questions, I guess. It's fine.
Okay.
I just don't know what this is.
No, I don't believe I have any questions.
Trustee Lane.
No, I think the option 2 sounds good.
Trustee Wakeman.
I just wanted to clarify on the existing 14,000, or I'm sorry, I don't remember the number exactly. That's still in our budget, and it's still, we don't need to.
We've carried it over.
Reallocate that.
It's currently not in the 2023 budget. We are going to bring, I'm going to bring a budget amendment request at the next board meeting to carry that amount of money over since it was not spent last year. But yes, we do have the money. It has not been spent.
I just wanted to be sure
Yes.
we're covered. Thanks.
Trustee Ehrlich, or Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
I have no questions.
I think you've covered everything that I needed to know. So, any comments?
I guess from the MPO's perspective, we're kind of the middleman here, and we're assuming that if CDOT is working through their consultants to get this vehicle option presented for the town of Milliken, that they'll then, on the federal side of things, bring either more state or federal funds to cover their 80% of the cost. But given just the supply chain realities, the fact that they're able to willing to kind of put these two options together to begin with, shows a lot of commitment on CDOT's side to do right by the town of Milliken for basically the failure of their former vendor.
Thank you. All right, no further discussion. I'll take a motion on the matter.
I make a motion we approve option 2, additional 4363.40
Second.
for the city bus.
Is that a second?
Second.
Great. Please call for a vote.
Trustee Meisner? Yes. Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cory.
Okay, next item on the agenda is authorization of the mayor to sign a professional service agreement with Loveland Barricade. John Ravis, Streets and Facilities Director.
Good evening. The pavement markings along Quintin Avenue, Alice Avenue, and Inez Boulevard has faded over time and became difficult to see at night. The existing markings need to be repainted to enhance visibility. Roadway markings provide guidance and information to motorists and pedestrians.
Quick question for you.
Sure.
When we do these markings, approximately how long do they traditionally last?
These markings will probably last 4 to 5 years. A lot of it depends on how much ice slicer and gravel is on the roadways.
Okay. All right. Opening up for questions from the board. Trustee Wakeman.
I'm sure I read this, but it is a budgeted item, correct?
Yeah, it sure is.
Trustee Lane?
I have no questions.
Trustee Wakeman? I already did you, sorry.
You have to come up with another question.
No, we let people go over 3 minutes. It's a problem tonight. Trustee Meisner?
I have no questions.
Trustee Beckman?
No questions.
Trustee Dean?
No questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
I have no questions.
Would you plan this to be done after the monsoon season?
Yes, it'll probably be done mid-July.
Great. Good to know. All right. I don't have any questions. I read the packet pretty thoroughly. Looked good to me. I'll take a motion on the matter.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign a professional service agreement with Loveland Barricade for roadway pavement markings on various roadways for $27,000.
Second it.
Okay, Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick, thanks a lot. Next item, we have written reports from our police department, code enforcement, and we have board member reports. So do we have an update on how the golf course is for our TRPR report?
Yeah, Friday night beat us up pretty bad. We lost the North Lake. We got a 60-foot hole in that dam that tore the pump house out, along with majority of the cart roads. So we've been closed all week. We got the pump out of the lake yesterday, what was left of it, or the 2 pumps, the pump station. Some of that can be reused. Quality Well and Pumps handling that for us. We've hired Vella's Constructors to rebuild the dam for us. Since it's a repair job, we don't need the Army Corps of Engineers approval or any 404 permits or anything like that. So construction on that will start tomorrow morning. And it's we'll be closed, we'll be open this weekend for Father's Day, and we'll close back down next Monday through Friday so we can have trucks running through the parking lot and around the course without injuring any golfers or having any safety issues. So if everything goes right, we'll have a temporary pump system set up by the end of next week that we can tie the irrigation system back in. We'll hand water to the greens next week as needed if we don't get rain. And, we'll play the game. So I think we probably have a couple $1 million worth of damage done to the golf course. And hopefully our insurance is good. We're waiting for the adjuster to show up. Of course, we're on hold, but we had to start construction and get going on it because we lost 12 acre-feet of water that irrigates the golf course. So
Pretty important.
Take a couple weeks to reconstruct the dam to where we can start holding water again. So we've taken a lot of pictures. So that's where we're at with that.
So your water for the golf course, did it come out of that lake that you lost, or does it come
Yes.
from the hills? Okay.
It's fed by the Greeley Loveland irrigation ditch.
By the Greeley Loveland irrigation ditch. And it goes
But the
into
lake was full, and we got 5 inches of rain in 45 minutes. So, of course, we collect all the water from Mill Iron 5, the Mad Russian Estates, along with all the farm ground on the north side of that all converts down that valley right to the lake. And that lake was constructed back in 1928, so that dam's withheld a lot of storms over the years. So I can tell you that we've never had a storm like this one.
Wow, sorry to hear about all the damage.
Yeah. Well, all
But
right.
at least we have the resources to get moving and know how to get things done. So we'll have all the cart roads reconstructed by Friday afternoon. We're 3/4 done working on them since Monday afternoon. Luckily, we had the farmers don't need any water, so Quality Well and Pump was able to jump on it right away. Velez Construction's waiting on a 404 approval before they can do their next project. So they're available for the next 2 weeks. And hopefully we can have the platform that goes from the dike out to the pier that the pump station sits on. We're talking probably by the second week of July, that'll be up and running.
Okay. So you guys are moving pretty fast.
So we don't work at government speed. That's the end of my report.
Sorry, we're at the point where there's not much more you could say about this. Okay, I did attend the North Front Range meeting. I had to beg off when that meeting went past 9:30. That's about all I could handle of that. Nothing really of major note to report on that. Anybody attend any other meetings? No? No board member reports? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're done.